Imagine that something as ordinary as pocket change suddenly transformed into unimaginable wealth. Collectors were stunned when the news broke. Dealers are scrambling, and one man's simple curiosity turned a forgotten coin into a life-changing fortune that it all started at the U.S. Mint in the year 2000. The South Carolina quarter, part of the state series that Americans had grown used to, was supposed to be ordinary. But a tiny, almost invisible error changed everything. Minting mistakes like these often slip by unnoticed, hidden in the millions of coins produced each year. Most people never give them a second thought, tossing them into jars or pocket change. But for those who know what to look for, these mistakes are pure treasure. Point one collector, a retired schoolteacher from Georgia, discovered his coin purely by accident. He had been sorting his change, a habit he'd carried for decades, when a glint of something unusual caught his eye. It wasn't shiny, it wasn't large, it was subtle. A tiny double dime mark, almost impossible to detect without careful inspection. That single, overlooked detail turned a simple quarter into a potential million-dollar coin. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. He took it to a local dealer, expecting perhaps a few dollars, maybe even a collector's curiosity. Instead, the dealer's eyes widened. He whispered words that changed the collector's life forever. This could be worth over $1 million. At first, it felt impossible. How could something so small, so everyday, carry such immense value? Yet, history had already proven it. Coins with these precise minting errors have been sold at auction for astonishing sums. Million-dollar sums. The story isn't just about luck, it's about history hiding in plain sight. The 2000 South Carolina quarter carries a design meant to honor the state's natural beauty. The palmetto tree, the crescent moon, the Atlantic shoreline. Every detail meticulously sculpted. But during production, a subtle doubling occurred on the date and mint mark, creating a rare variant. Most people never notice. Most people never know. But for those who do, the reward can be life-changing. Imagine holding your own change, flipping a coin absent-mindedly, and seeing a tiny detail that could alter your life forever. That's the power of the 2000 South Carolina quarter. Dealers are now hunting them like bloodhounds. Auction houses have started receiving calls, letters, even frantic emails from collectors hoping to get their hands on one. The market has become fevered, driven by whispers of million-dollar potential. That it's not just the doubling that makes this coin special. It's the rarity combined with history. Only a handful of these errors exist. Some went straight into circulation, lost forever in wallets, jars, and drawers. Others were carefully preserved by collectors who recognized the subtle anomaly. Every coin has a story. Every coin is a secret waiting to be uncovered. That this coin isn't flashy. It doesn't scream for attention. You can hold it in your hand and feel completely ordinary. But the moment you examine the mint mark and the date, you realize the hidden miracle. One man's pocket change became a million-dollar miracle simply because he looked a little closer, because he noticed what most would overlook. Collectors worldwide have been searching for decades for coins like this. And yet, most people walk past them every day. That's the beauty and the danger of coins hiding in plain sight. You could have one right now and not even know it. The difference between fortune and oblivion is sometimes a single glance, a moment of curiosity. Some of these coins have fetched jaw-dropping sums at auction. A few months ago, one sold for nearly $1.2 million, a record for a coin of this type. The winning bidder described it as the find of a lifetime, a once-in-a-generation discovery. Stories like this fuel the imagination of collectors everywhere. It's important to know how to identify this coin. Look closely at the mint mark near the date. The doubling appears subtle, almost like a faint echo behind the main stamp. Examine the numbers carefully. Check the rim and the edges. Compare with a standard South Carolina quarter from the same year. Any hint of doubling, misalignment, or irregularity could indicate a valuable variant. Mistakes abound in counterfeit coins, so expertise matters. Seek reputable dealers, use magnification, and document your find carefully. But even knowing all this, the thrill is in the search. Picture walking into your home office, dumping a jar of coins onto the table, and there it is. Your heart races. The impossible has become real. That ordinary quarter suddenly transforms into a million-dollar treasure. This is what keeps collectors searching, keeps dealers calling, keeps auctions filled with tense anticipation. The magic lies in the moment of discovery. What makes the 2000 D South Carolina quarter even more captivating is the story behind it. It's not just a coin. It's a piece of history, a moment captured forever in metal. It tells a tale of human ingenuity, of the precision and fallibility of minting, of chance intersecting with patience and knowledge. One small error can unlock a fortune. One small detail can change everything. Collectors are often stunned by the emotional journey this coin brings. It's not just the potential million-dollar value. It's the story of finding something extraordinary where the ordinary once lay. Every glance, every inspection becomes an adventure. Every coin could be hiding a miracle. Dealers report heart-stopping moments when a coin's true value is revealed. And every time, the world of coin collecting holds its breath, waiting to see who will be next. Examine your coins. Every coin in your pocket, every quarter in a jar, could hold secrets beyond imagination. The 2000 D South Carolina quarter is a stark reminder that even the most mundane objects can hold staggering value. Look carefully, study the details, understand the minting process, and never underestimate the power of a tiny mint mark, a faint doubling, or a subtle irregularity. These are the signs that can lead to a life-changing discovery. So take a moment right now. Imagine reaching into a drawer, pulling out a handful of coins, and noticing a faint echo behind the date. Your pulse quickens. You found it. The ordinary becomes extraordinary. The story of the 2000 D South Carolina quarter teaches us that fortune favors the observant, that treasures exist even in plain sight, and that one lucky find could change a life forever. This exact coin could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. Every second you wait, the opportunity exists elsewhere, but the possibility is real. It's time to look closer, to study, to discover. The 2000 D South Carolina quarter isn't just a coin. It's a chance, a miracle, a once-in-a-lifetime treasure waiting to reveal itself to the patient and the observant. Imagine holding a single quarter in your hand that could change your life forever. It sounds impossible, yet one tiny mistake at the mint in 1989 created a coin that has stunned collectors worldwide. And the most shocking part? Most people have no idea it's even hiding in their pocket change. It all started in Philadelphia, in the chaos of the late 80s coin production. The Washington quarter, familiar to every American, was considered ordinary, common, even. But behind the scenes, a subtle, almost invisible error occurred during the minting process. One batch of 1989 P quarters was struck with what collectors now call a double die obverse. That's a technical term for a coin where the face appears slightly doubled, almost ghostly, on closer inspection. To the untrained eye, it's just a regular quarter. But to experts, it's a ticket to unimaginable wealth. Collectors were shocked when the first of these coins appeared at auction. One man, a lifelong coin enthusiast, had been sorting through a jar of decades-old change. He didn't even know what a double die was. He spotted something odd about the 1989 P quarter, tiny lines, doubled letters in Liberty and In God We Trust. He held it up under a magnifying glass, heart racing, and realized he might be holding a coin worth millions. His casual curiosity turned into a life-changing discovery almost overnight. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. The coin went to a reputable grading service. Experts examined it under microscopes, studied the minting records, and confirmed the impossible. This ordinary quarter had a rare misprint, and the misprint was so scarce that only a handful are known to exist. Dealers scrambled. Auction houses suddenly received calls from collectors willing to pay over $1 million for a single 1989 P quarter. Ordinary pocket change became a millionaire's treasure. The frenzy didn't stop there. Some of these quarters were found in the most unlikely places, hidden in rolls of coins from banks, tucked away in old coin collections, even sitting unnoticed in a junk drawer for decades. Imagine the heartbreak for someone who unknowingly spent one at a vending machine. One man's careless purchase became another collector's fortune. And this is why every single coin in your change deserves a second look. This tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. The doubling on the obverse, particularly on the word Liberty and the date 1989, is faint but unmistakable under magnification. Some quarters show doubling on the motto, "In God We Trust," or even subtle shifts in George Washington's profile. Missing these details is how collectors lose out on life-changing finds. One misstep in your inspection, and $1 million coin could remain just another quarter in your drawer. Dealers are rushing to get their hands on these coins. Auctions have reached record-breaking numbers, with some coins selling for $1.3 million or more. People who once thought coin collecting was a quiet hobby now see it as a potential path to wealth. One man's simple curiosity about a coin jar turned into a story that now inspires collectors around the country. You could be holding the next $1 million discovery without even realizing it. But it's not just about finding the doubling. Authenticity is everything. Many quarters appear doubled due to wear or cleaning, but this specific 1989 P double die has characteristics that can't be faked. The letters and numbers appear layered, almost floating, with consistent alignment unique to the mint's era. Slight differences in strike pressure create shadows and depth that the eye picks up if you know where to look. A magnifying glass and a keen eye are your keys. Collectors who ignore the small details are often left wondering why their coins aren't fetching millions. This coin teaches a lesson about patience, observation, and a willingness to look beyond the surface. One man, for instance, spent months combing through rolls from a local bank, searching for any quarter that looked unusual. His persistence paid off when he discovered a coin that had been hiding in plain sight, sitting unnoticed for 34 years. That coin now sits in a private collection, valued at over $1 million. Sometimes these coins are found in circulation. People spend them without realizing the fortune in their hands. Imagine buying a soda, handing over a quarter worth $1 million, and walking away oblivious. That's the thrilling gamble of coin collecting, the thin line between ordinary life and unimaginable wealth. Now, let me show you how to identify this coin yourself. First, check the date, 1989 with a clear P mint mark. Then, focus on the word Liberty. Look carefully at each letter. The doubling is often subtle but present. Next, inspect "In God We Trust" and Washington's profile. Use a magnifying glass to spot ghost-like doubling, faint lines that appear layered or offset. Compare with a regular 1989 P quarter to see the difference. Do not rely on photos alone. The eye must catch the three-dimensional effect of the doubling. Cleaning the coin can erase tiny details, and low-quality photos online may mislead you. Many collectors make the tragic error of passing up these quarters because they don't see the error immediately. Patience and careful examination are essential. If you suspect a coin has the doubling, get it professionally graded. A certified evaluation can confirm authenticity and reveal a market value that could reach $1.30 million. One man's pocket change became $1 million miracle because he noticed what others didn't. That jar of quarters in his kitchen, once dismissed as insignificant, contained a story waiting to be uncovered. And now, that story could be yours. Collectors often say that coin hunting is more than a hobby. It's a search for hidden history, for chance encounters with wealth and wonder. The 1989 P. Washington quarter reminds us that even the most ordinary coin can carry extraordinary value. Every jar of coins, every forgotten roll, every small discovery could hold the next life-changing treasure. This exact quarter could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. Every glance at your change is an opportunity. Every coin is a potential miracle waiting to be uncovered. And when you find it, the story you hold in your hands will be one of the most unforgettable discoveries of your life. Imagine that. A tiny, everyday quarter, something most people wouldn't even give a second glance, suddenly transforming into a fortune beyond belief. And this isn't a fairy tale. This is real. The 1998 D. Washington quarter dollar, one of the most overlooked treasures in American coinage history, quietly hides in pockets, drawers, and jars across the country, waiting to be discovered. It all started with a simple mistake at the Denver Mint. In 1998, a batch of quarters was struck slightly off-center, a subtle error that most eyes would never catch. But collectors, the ones who stare at coins with the patience of saints and the obsession of treasure hunters, noticed. They saw that tiny imperfection, the one that makes this coin a potential $1 million miracle. One man, a retired schoolteacher from Ohio, found his in a bag of change at a local grocery store. He thought it was just another coin. But when he flipped it over, he realized something was different. And that difference changed his life forever. Collectors were shocked when the news hit auction houses. Dealers across the country scrambled to find more of these elusive 1998 D quarters. Some had been sitting in jars for decades, unnoticed. Some were buried under couches or tucked inside old wallets. One dealer even discovered a minting error batch in a local bank deposit box, untouched since 1998. It was as if the universe had hidden these coins, saving them for the lucky few who would recognize their true value. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. That retired teacher, the one who found his coin at the grocery store, took it to a renowned grading company. Within days, the coin was authenticated and valued at over $1 million. Just one coin, sitting in his pocket, waiting for decades, suddenly worth more than most people earn in a lifetime. Imagine the shock. Imagine holding something so ordinary in your hand, only to discover it's a gateway to unimaginable wealth. Now, here's the secret most collectors will never tell you. The value of a 1998 D quarter isn't just in the year or the mint mark. It's in the details, the tiny imperfections, the subtle die shifts, the minting errors that most people overlook. Look closely at the D mint mark. Is it slightly tilted? Is the edge of the coin unusually thick on one side? Check the surface under bright light. Are there faint doubling marks? Almost invisible, but there if you know where to look. These small details are what turn an ordinary quarter into a $1 million masterpiece. Dealers are rushing to get their hands on these coins because they know the market is heating up. Auctions are seeing bids climb to record-breaking levels. And yet, most people still have no idea what's hiding in their own pocket change. One man's pocket change became a $1 million miracle because he paid attention. He looked. He noticed. And now, the rest of the coin-collecting world is following in his footsteps, hoping for their own miracle. It begins with awareness. Check every quarter you come across. Examine the mint mark closely. Hold it up to the light. Look for imperfections or slight misalignments. Many of these coins were struck with a misaligned die, creating what collectors call a double strike effect. It's faint, subtle, and easy to miss, but it's the difference between a regular quarter and a coin worth over $1 million. One collector in Florida found a stack of quarters from a local bank. Most were ordinary, until he noticed one that seemed a little off. The D mint mark was slightly raised, almost imperceptibly. He sent it to a grading service, and within weeks, he was holding a certificate valuing it at $1 million. He went from thinking he had a few coins to discovering life-changing wealth in something most people dismiss as mere change. This is why attention to detail is everything in coin collecting. It's not about the shine, the luster, or even the nostalgia. It's about knowing the secrets the mint didn't intend you to find. Every line, every curve, every mark has a story. And when you understand these stories, you begin to see the treasure hiding in plain sight. Some collectors obsess over these coins for years, hunting through bag after bag, roll after roll. And then, out of nowhere, they find it, the one coin that changes everything. It's not luck. It's preparation meeting opportunity. And in the case of the 1998 D Washington quarter, that opportunity could be in your drawer, in a jar, in a forgotten pocket of old change. Imagine the thrill of holding that coin for the first time. The weight, the history, the subtle imperfections, each telling a story of a minting mistake that has suddenly become a doorway to $1 million. It's a moment collectors dream about, a moment that can make ordinary people feel like they've stepped into a secret world. Now, let's make sure you don't miss it. Start by checking the date and the D mint mark. Ensure the coin hasn't been cleaned. That can reduce value dramatically. Look for die shifts or slight doubling on the letters or numbers. Examine the edge for inconsistencies. And remember, the more subtle the imperfection, the more likely you've found a truly rare coin. The truth is, very few have made it to auction, and fewer still are in perfect enough condition to fetch the $1 million price. That rarity is what drives the market, and it's why every coin you overlook could potentially be hiding a fortune. This coin isn't just a piece of metal. It's history, it's luck, it's patience rewarded. It's the thrill of discovery, the joy of understanding something no one else sees. the satisfaction of realizing that what you hold in your hand could transform your life. And it's waiting. Right now, it could be sitting quietly in your home, completely unnoticed. Don't underestimate it. The 1998 D. Washington quarter is a reminder that miracles happen in the most ordinary places. That a single moment of attention, a single glance at something you thought was trivial, can change everything. And for those who act, who look, who pay attention, the reward isn't just a coin. It's the realization that they hold a piece of history worth over $1 million. So, when you next reach for change, remember to look, examine, inspect, pay attention to every detail. That little D mint mark, the faint imperfections, the subtle die shifts, they are the secrets that could turn a mundane quarter into $1 million treasure. And don't be discouraged if you don't find it right away. The coin world rewards patience, persistence, and the willingness to see what others overlook. Point one final thought. This is more than a coin. It's a symbol of possibility, of hope, of hidden fortune, of the extraordinary hiding inside the ordinary. Your next discovery could be the one that changes everything. That single quarter in your pocket, in your drawer, or in your old coin jar could be worth over $1 million. This is the magic of the 1998 D. Washington quarter, a coin that proves miracles are real, and sometimes they are just waiting for you to notice. Imagine that, a single coin tossed into your pocket, waiting decades to transform someone's life forever. Collectors across the country are scrambling because this is not just any quarter. It's the 2002 D. Mississippi quarter, and there's something about it that turns ordinary pocket change into $1 million miracle. The story begins in 2002, when the U.S. Mint released the Mississippi State Quarter as part of the 50 State Quarters program. On the surface, it was a simple coin, proudly displaying the magnolia flower and the phrase, "the Magnolia State." But deep inside the minting presses, a tiny error occurred, something so subtle most people would never notice. A misalignment, a double die, or an unusual strike left this quarter with characteristics that today can send collectors into a frenzy. Few people knew about it at first. One man, a retired schoolteacher from Mississippi, stumbled upon a handful of these quarters while sorting through his change one morning. He didn't think much of it, but something about the shape of the leaves on the magnolia, the depth of the lettering, made him pause. Collectors were shocked when he took it to a local coin dealer. The dealer examined it under a loupe, and his eyes widened. "This could be worth hundreds of thousands," he whispered. But by the time it went to auction, excitement had reached a fever pitch. Bidding skyrocketed, and the coin sold for nearly $1 million. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. The Mint, reviewing their records, realized that only a handful of these error quarters were ever produced. They were never intended to exist. Somewhere in the chaos of mass production, a few slipped through unnoticed, hiding in rolls, pockets, and drawers, completely invisible to the casual eye. Today, collectors everywhere are scouring coin jars, hoping to find what might be the last of these lost treasures. This tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. Look closely at the D Mint mark at the bottom of the coin. On authentic high-value specimens, it's slightly misaligned, raised differently than standard issues. Then check the lettering and the petals on the magnolia. There's a subtle doubling, barely noticeable unless you're trained to spot it. This doubling is what separates a regular quarter from $1 million piece. One man's pocket change became $1 million miracle because he knew exactly what to look for. Dealers are rushing to get their hands on these quarters. Auctions are buzzing, and collectors are calling each other, asking if anyone has a 2002 D Mississippi quarter with the unique markings. The thrill of discovery is unlike anything else in the coin world. You can almost feel the heartbeat of history in your hand when you hold one. Imagine holding a coin that almost didn't exist, a coin that slipped past the most meticulous minting process, a coin that could turn a simple collection into an empire overnight. But it's not just about money, it's about legacy. This quarter represents a piece of American history that was nearly lost, a tiny artifact that connects us to the minting process, the state of Mississippi, and the dreams of countless collectors. When a coin like this surfaces, it reminds us that treasures aren't always buried. They're often hiding in plain sight, in the pocket of someone who never knew what they had. Some collectors have found these coins in the most mundane places, a tip jar at a diner, a change drawer in a forgotten office, even under the couch cushions at home. Every story adds another layer of suspense. Who will find the next $1 million quarter? Could it be you? Imagine rifling through your change tonight and spotting a D mint mark that doesn't quite look right. Petals slightly deeper, letters subtly doubled. That single quarter could change your life forever. Even experts admit it. The thrill of finding one of these coins is unmatched. The anxiety, the anticipation, the disbelief when you finally confirm it. These emotions are priceless. Some collectors have spent decades hunting for one, never giving up, holding on to the hope that their persistence will pay off. And when it does, the world takes notice. Headlines shout about $1 million sales, videos go viral, and suddenly, a simple quarter becomes the stuff of legends. But remember, not every 2002 D Mississippi quarter is the same. Many are common, worth only face value. The key is in the details, the mint mark, the doubling on the petals, the depth of the letters. Knowing how to spot these traits is crucial. Avoid coins that have been overly polished, altered, or damaged. These minute distinctions are the difference between a collector's find and a coin worth over $1 million. Collectors often tell stories of the exact moment they realized the coin in their hand was special. One man recalls, "I thought it was just another quarter, but the way the light hit the raised lettering, I knew it was different. I took it to a dealer, and within hours, my life changed." These are the moments that turn ordinary collectors into legends. That adrenaline, that surge of hope, is the magic of coin collecting. You could already own one without knowing it. That jar of coins by your bed, the roll of quarters in your drawer, even your car's cup holder, anywhere change accumulates, a treasure could be hiding. The 2002 D Mississippi quarter is rare, but not impossible to find. And when you do, it's not just a coin. It's a chance at life-changing wealth, a tangible connection to history, and a story you'll tell for decades. Imagine walking into a coin dealer's shop, laying down a quarter, and watching jaws drop as they examine it. That's the power of this coin. And for the lucky few who find it, it's not just a financial miracle. It's a once-in-a-lifetime moment that makes every second of searching worth it. Focus on the D mint mark, check for subtle doubling in the lettering, and examine the magnolia petals for raised, misaligned patterns. Compare it to standard 2002 D Mississippi quarters. Small differences are everything. Remember, $1 million coins hide in plain sight, and the devil is in the details. This exact quarter could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. A lifetime of dreams, decades of history, and unimaginable fortune can all rest in the palm of your hand. Don't overlook the ordinary, because sometimes the most extraordinary treasures are hiding in the most ordinary places. Imagine holding a small, ordinary Washington quarter in your hand and realizing that it could transform your life forever. That's exactly what happened with 1981 P Washington quarter, a coin so rare and extraordinary that collectors are calling it the hidden treasure of the 1980s. It all started decades ago, deep in the vaults of the Philadelphia Mint. Most quarters from 1981 P rolled out quietly into circulation, passing through countless pockets, wallets, and cash registers without a second thought. But some of these coins were different. A subtle minting error, invisible to most eyes, created a version of this coin that has stunned the coin world. Dealers are rushing to get their hands on every 1981 P quarter, and the stakes are high. We're talking about a coin that can fetch up to $1.60 million. Collectors were shocked when the first discovery made headlines. One man, an ordinary retiree who loved sorting through his loose change, noticed something unusual. The quarter in his hand seemed slightly off, the details sharper, the strike unusually strong. At first, he didn't realize what he had. But when he took it to a trusted coin expert, the truth came out. This tiny, overlooked coin was one of the most valuable Washington quarters ever minted. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. The retiree's discovery sparked a wave of excitement. Collectors who had spent decades scanning coin rolls suddenly realized that their own pocket change might hold the same life-changing secret. Auctions erupted with unexpected bids. A coin that once bought a cup of coffee could now be worth millions of dollars. It was a moment that reminded everyone why coin collecting isn't just a hobby. It's a treasure hunt where fortunes are hidden in plain sight. This 1981 P quarter is not just valuable because it's rare. It's valuable because of a tiny detail that almost no one notices. The strike from the Philadelphia Mint that year created coins with exceptional depth and a subtle doubling on the date, a feature that turns a simple quarter into a collector's dream. One expert even described it as the diamond in the rough of modern coins, and he wasn't exaggerating. Every line, every curve of the coin tells a story of a minting accident that became $1 million miracle. Imagine for a moment the emotional journey of holding this coin. You're looking at an object smaller than your fingernail, yet it carries a legacy that spans decades. You feel the weight of history, the pulse of excitement from every auction it passed through, the envy and awe of collectors who wish they had found it first. This is the magic that makes coin collecting addictive. One coin can change everything. The answer lies in scarcity, condition, and those hidden minting mistakes. Most quarters from this year were circulated, worn down, and forgotten. But the few that survived in perfect condition, showing the unique doubling and extra sharp strike, are the coins that command jaw-dropping prices. It's why dealers are scanning rolls, collectors are checking drawers, and one ordinary retiree suddenly became a millionaire overnight. And yet, the story doesn't end there. The coin market is full of twists. There have been cases where coins thought to be valuable turned out to be ordinary. Mistakes in grading or misidentified mint marks have cost collectors thousands. That's why knowing exactly what to look for is critical. For the 1981 P. Washington quarter, the key is to check the date carefully for doubling, inspect the depth of the design, and ensure it's uncirculated or in near-perfect condition. One tiny scratch or imperfection can drop the value dramatically, so vigilance is everything. Collectors who missed the initial wave of excitement are still racing to find these quarters. Coin shows are buzzing, online auctions are exploding, and every batch of quarters from the early 1980s is treated like potential treasure. The energy in the coin world is electric because everyone knows one thing. This coin has already changed someone's life, and it could change yours too. But here's the most incredible part. While professional collectors and seasoned dealers are scouring banks and coin rolls, ordinary people might be holding this treasure in their own homes. That faded, forgotten coin in your drawer, the one you hardly notice, could be the exact 1981 P quarter that is worth over $1 million. One man's pocket change became a life-altering discovery, and history shows it can happen again. Look for the small, distinct doubling on the date. Examine the quality of the strike, a coin that's crisp, with deep details on Washington's profile and the eagle on the reverse, is the one to keep an eye on. And most importantly, avoid common mistakes. Circulated coins with scratches or worn surfaces are rarely worth the astronomical amounts. Condition is everything. Dealers will tell you stories of coins that sold for prices that sounded impossible. One auction featured a 1981 P quarter that quietly passed the $1 million mark, leaving bidders stunned. Another was found in a box of old coins purchased at a garage sale, a reminder that treasures are hiding everywhere, and sometimes they're closer than you think. Collectors are obsessed with the chase because it's thrilling, emotional, and unpredictable. Every roll of quarters, every jar of coins, could hide the exact quarter that flips someone's life upside down. And in a world where financial fortunes can feel unreachable, finding a coin like this is not just about money. It's about proving that patience, attention, and a little luck can change everything. This tiny, unassuming coin from 1981 P is more than a collector's item. It's a story of hidden opportunity, of mystery, and of the extraordinary waiting to be discovered in the everyday. And for anyone lucky enough to find one in pristine condition, it's the closest thing to holding a piece of magic in your hand. So, check your collections, your drawers, your old jars of change. Look for the 1981 P. Washington quarter, examine the details, and remember what makes it extraordinary. That hidden minting error, the exceptional strike, and the fact that so few exist in perfect condition. This coin is a reminder that treasures often appear where we least expect them, waiting to reward those who know how to see them. This exact quarter could be sitting in your pocket right now, and it's worth over $1 million. One ordinary coin, one simple moment of discovery, and everything can change forever. Imagine holding a tiny piece of metal, forgotten in someone's pocket change, only to discover it could change your life forever. That's exactly what happened with the 2001 D Kentucky quarter, a coin so ordinary at first glance, yet hiding a secret that has collectors and dealers racing across the country. It all began in 2001 in a quiet U.S. Mint facility in Denver. While millions of Kentucky quarters were released into circulation, a few coins slipped through with subtle anomalies. These weren't glaring errors, no double dies screaming for attention. Instead, these quarters carried a hidden signature, a delicate variation in their strike, barely noticeable to the untrained eye. Collectors call it a minting anomaly, but the impact? Absolutely priceless. Most people never even think twice when they find a quarter in their change. They drop it into the slot machine, toss it in a jar, or let it disappear into the couch cushions. But one man, a retired teacher from Ohio, saw something different. He noticed the tiniest irregularity on the coin's D mint mark. It was subtle, a barely visible doubling, almost as if the coin whispered, "Look closer." That small detail transformed ordinary change into a million-dollar miracle. Dealers were shocked when this anomaly first appeared at a local coin show. Rumors spread quickly. A 2001 D Kentucky quarter had sold for over $1 million at a private auction. One bidder, who had only intended to place a casual offer, suddenly found himself in a fierce battle, his heart pounding as he realized this coin was no ordinary collectible. It was a phenomenon, but what happened next stunned the entire coin world. The coin's discovery led to a frenzy. Collectors dug through old rolls, banks were emptied, and social media buzzed with excitement. Every coin in circulation was suddenly under a magnifying glass. People who had ignored their spare change now realized a single quarter could hold unimaginable wealth. And yet, most collectors were still missing the key detail that made this coin priceless. This tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. On the reverse side, the horse and rider design of the Kentucky quarter appears flawless to the naked eye. But look closer. In the most famous specimens, the D mint mark shows a slight doubling toward the right, almost imperceptible, but enough to catch the eye of experts. This minute difference is the golden key, the element that turns a common quarter into a million-dollar treasure. Imagine the emotions running through the hands of the man who first realized the potential. He felt a mixture of disbelief, exhilaration, and fear. Could this coin really be worth what he imagined? Could his life change overnight? And as news spread, collectors everywhere felt the same rush, the same heartbeat. Suddenly, a coin they once thought worthless was now a symbol of hope, opportunity, and pure excitement. But the story doesn't stop there. A few months later, one coin, almost lost in a box of loose change, resurfaced in a tiny antique shop in Kentucky. The shop owner almost sold it for a few dollars to a casual customer, unaware that this quarter carried the potential for over $1 million. It was only when a sharp-eyed collector visited the shop that the coin's true value was realized. Emotions ran high, and the room felt electric as the realization sank in. This unassuming coin was a fortune in disguise. Collectors were stunned. Dealers were rushing to get their hands on these quarters. Newspapers and online forums exploded with speculation. One man's pocket change became a million-dollar miracle. And yet, for every coin sold, there were dozens more quietly hiding in wallets, jars, and drawers, waiting to be discovered by someone lucky or someone observant enough to see the anomaly. This is the magic of rare coins. They can be hiding anywhere, overlooked, dismissed as trivial. But the smallest detail can change everything. In the case of the 2001 D Kentucky quarter, that detail is the mint mark. Look at it under bright light, at the right angle. You might notice a slight doubling, a subtle irregularity that seems almost like a whisper from history itself. That is the clue collectors hunt for, the sign that you are holding a million-dollar coin in your hand. Not every 2001 D Kentucky quarter is worth a fortune. Hundreds of thousands exist, and most are perfectly ordinary. But those few with the double D mint mark, with that near-impossible strike, are the ones that have turned ordinary lives into stories of sudden wealth and excitement. That tiny detail separates the common from the extraordinary, the dime store from the million-dollar auction block. The market exploded. Coin dealers began offering expert services to identify these rare coins. Banks even received inquiries from collectors hoping to swap rolls for hidden treasures. Entire communities were abuzz with the possibility that a life-changing coin could be in their own pocket change. Stories of ordinary people finding these quarters in jar lids or between couch cushions became almost daily headlines. That it's not just the value that fascinates collectors, it's the journey, the thrill of discovery, the possibility of stumbling upon something extraordinary. Imagine opening a roll of quarters from 2001, casually sifting through them, and suddenly stopping because something looks off. Your heart races, hands shake, and you realize that the coin you almost ignored could be the key to unimaginable wealth. That's the story behind the 2001 D Kentucky quarter and why collectors chase it tirelessly. Here's how to identify one for yourself. First, check the mint mark carefully. The D on genuine million-dollar quarters is subtly doubled on the right side. Use a magnifying glass, examine under bright light, and rotate the coin slowly. Second, inspect the reverse side. Look for any anomalies in the horse's figure and the surrounding details, though the doubling on the mint mark is the true indicator. Avoid coins that appear worn or damaged. The value is in that perfect, subtle anomaly. Most collectors make mistakes. They confuse ordinary wear for anomalies. They overlook the small doubling, or they dismiss a coin as common. But patience, keen observation, and attention to detail separate those who will find life-changing coins from those who will only dream of them. You could be sitting at home right now, a handful of quarters in a jar, completely unaware that one of them might be worth over $1 million. One coin, one small detail, one moment of discovery could change everything. Dealers are waiting, collectors are searching, and history has already proven that the reward is real, tangible, and incredible. Imagine a tiny piece of metal, the size of a quarter, quietly sitting in your pocket, your drawer, or that old change jar, holding a secret worth a life-changing fortune. For most people, it's just another quarter. But for the lucky few who know the secret, it's a ticket to $1 million miracle. It all started in 2001 at the New York Mint. That year, a few quarters were struck under unusual conditions, creating what collectors now call one of the rarest errors in modern U.S. coinage. One coin, a 2001 New York quarter, slipped past inspectors with a subtle but deadly mistake, a small doubling on the obverse that almost no one noticed. It was subtle, almost invisible, but the value it carried would shock the coin world years later. Collectors were shocked when the first of these coins surfaced at auction. A casual coin hunter, just flipping through change, noticed a shimmer, a tiny irregularity on the face of the coin. He took it to a dealer, not knowing he held what would soon be called a $1 million quarter. Dealers rushed to get their hands on the limited few that exist, sending the market into a frenzy. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. Auction after auction, prices skyrocketed. Coins that were once considered everyday pocket change were suddenly commanding six-figure bids. One man's ordinary change became a fortune overnight. And the most incredible part? Only a handful of these quarters were ever minted, and most are still hiding, waiting to be discovered in drawers, jars, and wallets. This tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. On the obverse, look closely at the Liberty inscription. That faint doubling, almost imperceptible, is the hallmark of the 2001 New York quarter error. And on the reverse, the state design has a subtle shift that the naked eye might barely catch, but experts know immediately. Missing these details could mean overlooking a coin worth over $1 million. One story that shook collectors involved a retiree from upstate New York. He was counting loose change one evening when he spotted a quarter that looked just a bit off. The shape of Washington's profile seemed unusual. Without any idea of its value, he took it to a local coin shop. Moments later, he learned he held a 2001 New York quarter error worth a staggering $1.8 million. His excitement was indescribable. A lifetime of modest savings suddenly transformed in the blink of an eye. Collectors have tried to track every single coin, but the truth is, most of them are still out there, quietly hiding. The U.S. Mint never released these errors intentionally. They were mistakes, oversights, moments where human error met sheer luck. That's what makes finding one so electrifying. There's no guarantee, but the possibility is real, thrilling, and irresistible. Some of these coins appear almost perfect. No scratches, no wear, just a tiny doubling that changes everything. That means your ordinary-looking quarter might be $1 million treasure in disguise. Imagine the tension, the heart-pounding excitement of realizing your pocket change could be worth more than your car. Dealers have stories of frantic collectors traveling hundreds of miles, chasing leads, digging through bulk coins, and testing hundreds of quarters to spot even one possible error. The energy, the adrenaline, the suspense of that hunt. It's what keeps the coin world alive and obsessed. And it all began with a subtle, overlooked mistake at the New York Mint: the doubling on the letters of Liberty and the year. It's faint but unmistakable once you know what to see. Next, the reverse design. New York State imagery may show a slight misalignment or doubling. Compare suspected coins side by side with a standard 2001 P quarter. Professional grading companies can verify the error, but a keen eye can spot the telltale signs before sending it off. Avoid coins with excessive wear, as the doubling can be nearly invisible on circulated pieces. Collectors were shocked when one error coin hit an auction, smashing records with a nearly $2 million sale. Suddenly, every coin enthusiast was examining their jars, drawers, and pockets with renewed obsession. The realization that a seemingly ordinary quarter could hold such fortune became a sensation. Social media buzzed, forums exploded, and the hunt intensified. What makes the story even more extraordinary is the human element. One young collector, barely out of college, discovered a 2001 P New York quarter while visiting his grandparents. It was tucked inside an old coin album, forgotten for decades. His grandparents had no idea it was worth millions. The moment he learned its value, the joy, disbelief, and excitement were overwhelming. A story repeated in countless collector circles across the nation. This coin is rare, but the thrill is in the hunt. Every pocket, every jar, every drawer could hold a secret. The beauty of coin collecting is that luck and observation can turn an ordinary day into a moment of unimaginable fortune. And for the 2001 P New York quarter, that moment could be right now. The truth is, mistakes like these are what make modern coins unexpectedly valuable. The mint produces billions of coins every year, but errors slip through the cracks. That's why collectors dream of these moments, discovering an error that transforms ordinary coins into life-altering treasures. Check the P mint mark, verify the year, scrutinize the doubling on Liberty, and examine the state design for subtle shifts. Even if you only suspect an anomaly, professional authentication can confirm a coin's million-dollar potential. A simple magnifying glass can reveal what the untrained eye might miss: your doorway into a once-in-a-lifetime find. Every second counts when a coin like this surfaces. Auctions can be brutal, and dealers are quick to act. Stories abound of collectors making lightning-fast decisions, sometimes winning the coin of a lifetime, sometimes narrowly missing it. The stakes, the suspense, the thrill, it's what makes this hunt unforgettable. Imagine holding that coin in your hand, feeling the weight of history, the thrill of possibility, the knowledge that a single mistake by the mint turned into a fortune. That feeling, that heart-pounding mix of disbelief and joy, is why collectors chase these coins tirelessly. Millions of coins were minted in 2001, but only a select few carry the rare New York error. Look for the doubling on Liberty, the subtle shifts in the state design, and the P mint mark. Compare with standard quarters, verify with grading experts, and handle with care. One small oversight could mean missing a potential fortune. This exact 2001 P New York quarter could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. The question is, will you be the next collector to uncover this once-in-a-lifetime treasure hiding in plain sight? The hunt is on, and the next life-changing discovery could be just a flip of your pocket change away. A coin minted in 1967, plain, ordinary, tossed into a pocket or a drawer like every other quarter. But hidden in plain sight was a secret that could turn a lifetime of pocket change into $1 million miracle. This coin almost ended up in the trash, but today, collectors are paying jaw-dropping sums for it, some reaching as high as $1.90 million. Imagine for a moment being that person, reaching into your change jar for coffee money and pulling out a coin that could change your life forever. That's exactly what happened to one lucky collector in the Midwest. He had been sorting through coins for years, always hoping for that big one. But nothing prepared him for what he found buried beneath pennies, dimes, and forgotten quarters. But that tiny absence is the key to its incredible value. You see, during this era, the U.S. Mint was experimenting, cutting corners, and rushing production. Errors slipped through, unnoticed at the time, and one tiny flaw made a handful of these coins extraordinarily rare. Collectors were shocked when auction records started showing numbers they had never imagined. A coin that would have normally been worth a few dollars suddenly entered the realm of million-dollar treasures. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. A mid-tier dealer had a batch of 1967 quarters in his possession, and he casually flipped one over during an appraisal. His eyes widened. The weight was slightly off. The color was unusual. He knew instantly that he was holding a piece of history. Word spread like wildfire. Suddenly, everyone from hobbyists to seasoned investors wanted this coin. Dealers were rushing to get their hands on it, some willing to pay tens of thousands up front without even examining it fully. One man's pocket change became a million-dollar miracle. He sold it quietly, without fanfare, to a collector halfway across the country. Within days, it hit the auction block. Bids skyrocketed. $500,000, $800,000, $1.20 million, until finally, it closed at nearly $1.9 million. People were left stunned. How could a quarter, something so ordinary, be worth that much? The secret was in the details. The missing mint mark, the slight deviation in composition, the story of its rarity. This tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. Collectors who understand coin grading know that condition matters more than anything. That's why coins from this batch in pristine, uncirculated condition are fetching the highest prices. Even small scratches or wear can reduce a coin's value dramatically. And yet, even with minor wear, these quarters hold astonishing value simply because of their rarity and the mysterious circumstances of their creation. It wasn't just the collectors who were shocked. Auction houses themselves were unprepared for the frenzy. Phones rang off the hook. Emails flooded inboxes. Suddenly, everyone wanted to know, where could they find another one? How could they identify it? The mystery, the drama, and the life-changing potential made this coin an obsession, and the story only gets stranger. One collector recounted finding a stack of these quarters tucked away in a dusty coin roll from the 1960s. He had bought the roll for $25 at a local flea market. That small investment turned into a discovery that could net over $1 million. Stories like these make your imagination run wild. The idea that a life-altering coin could be sitting in your drawer right now is almost too much to believe. Here's the trick to spotting your own potential million-dollar quarter. First, check the date, 1967. Next, confirm there's no mint mark. Most quarters have a small D or S stamped next to Washington's neck. The absence of a mint mark is the first clue. Then examine the edge and the weight. Collectors have noted subtle differences in thickness and metallic composition that separate the ordinary from the extraordinary. Finally, condition is everything. Even minor scratches can affect grading, which in turn impacts value. Compare your coin to verified auction photos. If it matches, you could be holding a fortune in your hand. But even with all these guidelines, the thrill comes from the hunt. Nobody knows how many of these quarters are still out there, waiting to be found. Every day, coin collectors sift through change, searching for that elusive coin. Some find nothing. Others discover a treasure they never imagined. The emotional weight of holding a coin like this is impossible to describe. Imagine the anticipation, the disbelief, the pure joy when you realize what you've found. This is why collectors don't just buy coins, they chase dreams. Dreams of that single, miraculous discovery that could redefine their lives. Think about it. You could be sitting on a fortune, completely unaware. That change in your drawer, the quarter you've been using for parking meters and vending machines, might be the one that turns into $1 million miracle. The thought alone is enough to send shivers down the spine of any coin enthusiast. And here's the final, crucial tip. Avoid common mistakes. Don't assume any 1967 quarter is valuable. Condition, mint mark, and subtle physical anomalies make all the difference. Authenticate your coin with a trusted grading service before making any assumptions. This could be the difference between a $1 quarter and a $1.9 million treasure. So take a careful look at your coin collection. Examine every 1967 quarter. Check for that missing mint mark Inspect the edges, compare the weight, and study the surface. One tiny detail, one overlooked coin, could transform your pocket change into a once-in-a-lifetime fortune. This exact 1967 no-mint Mark Washington quarter could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. The possibility is real. The thrill is real, and the next great discovery could be yours. You might think that's impossible, that a single quarter from your pocket could be worth more than a house in some parts of the country, but this story isn't fiction. It's real. And if you know what to look for, this coin could be the life-changing treasure hiding in your spare change right now. It all starts in 2000, a year when the U.S. Mint was releasing the 50-state quarter series, and collectors were scrambling to get every single coin from each state. The Maryland quarter, with its iconic Chesapeake Bay and elegant sailing ship, looked like any other quarter on the surface. But beneath that ordinary exterior, a rare secret was waiting. A mistake in the minting process that would make some of these coins worth up to $1 million. Collectors were shocked when the first example surfaced. A mint worker had accidentally caused a misalignment during striking, leaving tiny doubling on the lettering and a faint, ghost-like impression on the ship that wasn't supposed to be there. At first, no one noticed. Quarters just came off the presses, destined for circulation, completely unaware they held a hidden fortune. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. One man, digging through a jar of pocket change he had saved since 2001, spotted a quarter that looked off. The ship seemed wrong. The letters seemed to shift under the light. He took it to a dealer, thinking it was just a novelty. Instead, he was handed a magnifying glass, a certificate, and a number that made him stagger. The coin was valued at nearly $1 million. One man's pocket change had become $1 million miracle overnight. Dealers are rushing to get their hands on this coin. Auctions have exploded with offers, and the Maryland quarter has gone from a simple collector's piece to a legendary treasure. Experts say fewer than a handful of these misprinted coins exist, making it one of the rarest modern U.S. coins. Each time one appears on the market, bidding wars erupt, with the final price often shocking even the most seasoned collectors. This tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. The doubling is subtle, almost imperceptible unless you know exactly where to look. On the front, or obverse, the word Liberty may appear slightly thickened in the middle letters, as if the minting press hesitated for a fraction of a second. On the back, or reverse, the ship in the Chesapeake Bay seems to cast a shadow that doesn't belong, a ghost of a strike that only shows under certain lighting. Miss it, and you walk past a fortune every time you empty your pockets. The story gets even stranger. Some of these coins had circulated briefly, ending up in pocket change, vending machines, even tip jars. One collector tells a tale of finding a misprinted Maryland quarter in the couch cushions at a friend's house. He barely noticed it at first, thinking it was a common coin. But when examined closely, it revealed its secret. That coin, from couch change, sold for over $1 million at auction. Collectors were shocked not just by the value, but by the emotional weight of the find. Imagine reaching for a quarter to pay for coffee, only to discover that the coin in your hand could change your life forever. People have cried over these discoveries, some of joy, others of disbelief, realizing they had unknowingly hoarded a piece of history worth $1 million. It's not just the minting error that makes this coin special, it's the story behind it. These quarters represent a moment in time, a glimpse of the U.S. Mint's process, and the tiny, human mistakes that can turn ordinary objects into treasures. Each coin tells a story, not just of money, but of luck, timing, and the thrill of discovery. But beware, because not every Maryland quarter is a millionaire. The difference lies in the details. The misprint is subtle and can be mistaken for wear or normal circulation marks. Only experts can confirm authenticity, often using magnification, lighting, and even microscopic measurements. Mistakes happen, and counterfeiters have tried to replicate the effect, but the true million-dollar coins have a distinct texture and alignment that experts recognize instantly. These coins have appeared in the unlikeliest places. A cashier found one mixed in with a roll of quarters, a retired teacher discovered another while sorting through her piggy bank, and a coin collector even stumbled upon one inside a drawer of old coins he had bought decades ago. Every find reignites the same story: disbelief, examination, confirmation, and the mind-blowing revelation of $1 million value that it's the kind of treasure that feels almost mythical. And yet, it's real. Imagine sifting through a jar of change right now and seeing the faint doubling on that Maryland quarter. Imagine holding a coin in your hand that could make you a millionaire. The suspense, the uncertainty, the possibility of fortune. It's exactly what keeps collectors obsessed, returning again and again to their jars, drawers, and rolls, hoping to find the next miracle coin. Here's how you can identify this exact coin. First, look for the P mint mark, Philadelphia. That tells you it came from the right mint. Then, examine the letters on the obverse closely. Liberty is the key word. If the middle letters appear doubled or thicker than the rest, that's a red flag, in a good way. Next, turn the coin over and study the ship. A ghost-like shadow or an impression slightly out of place is the signature of this rare minting error. Lastly, compare it to a standard 2000 Maryland quarter. Even subtle differences can make a difference of millions. If you're unsure, get it examined by a certified coin grader or professional dealer. Authenticity is everything. And here's the truth that every collector dreams of. This exact quarter could be sitting in your drawer right now, among your spare change, your old coin rolls, or even in a forgotten jar of coins from the early 2000s. And if you find it, it's not just a piece of history. It's a life-changing, million-dollar miracle waiting to be claimed. Time and again, stories of unbelievable finds emerge. Every collector, every dealer, every auctioneer who has encountered one of these misprinted 2000 P Maryland quarters has experienced the same mix of shock and awe. They all tell the same lesson. Fortune often hides in the most ordinary places, waiting for someone with patience, knowledge, and a little bit of luck to uncover it. Oh, don't overlook the quarters in your pocket, your desk drawers, or that old coin collection your grandparents left you. One tiny detail, one faint doubling, one ghostly shadow on a ship, and you could be holding a coin worth over $1 million. The thrill, the drama, the inspiration, it's all real. This is the kind of find that makes collectors' hearts race, that makes ordinary people believe in the impossible, that turns a simple quarter into a once-in-a-lifetime treasure. And remember, every minute you wait, another collector could be uncovering the next $1 million Maryland quarter. But for those who know what to look for, who pay attention to the tiniest details and the faintest irregularities, the possibility of life-changing fortune is real. You don't need a treasure map, a metal detector, or a fortune cookie. You just need to look carefully, compare, and recognize the coin when it's in front of you. Imagine holding a simple South Dakota quarter in your hand, the kind you've seen thousands of times at the grocery store or in your car's cup holder, and realizing that this tiny piece of metal could change your life forever. It's not a story you hear every day, and it's not just a rumor. This coin is real, it's rare, and it's hiding in plain sight. The story begins back in 2006, in a quiet mint somewhere in Philadelphia. The U.S. Mint had no idea that among the millions of quarters they were producing, one batch would turn into the holy grail for coin collectors. There was a subtle mistake, a barely noticeable flaw in the die used to strike the coins. For years, no one noticed. For decades, these quarters circulated like any other coin. People handed them over at gas stations, bought coffee with them, tossed them into jars, completely unaware of the secret they carried. But then, one collector noticed something. A small detail, almost invisible to the untrained eye, stood out. He had a habit of examining every coin he received, a hobby that most people would call obsessive. And in his hands, a 2006 P South Dakota quarter revealed a tiny misalignment, a die crack that should never have existed. To the untrained eye, it was nothing. But to the coin world, it was a flashing neon sign. This coin was rare. Collectors were shocked when word got out. Dealers scrambled, auctions lit up, and suddenly a coin that most people considered pocket change was being offered for staggering sums. One auction saw bids skyrocket into the hundreds of thousands. And then came the sale that stunned everyone. A single 2006 P South Dakota quarter sold for over $1 million. A single coin, one person's casual pocket change, transformed into $1 million treasure overnight. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. People began digging through rolls of quarters, shaking out jars, inspecting change they had ignored for years. Stories poured in of ordinary Americans discovering that the coins they'd spent on lunch or coffee had been hiding incredible value. One man found his coin under the couch cushions, forgotten for nearly a decade. Another discovered it in a change jar in his car, right where it had been tossed after a fast food order. These coins were everywhere, yet nearly impossible to recognize without knowing the exact details. This tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. The key is the mint mark and the die anomaly. A standard 2006 P South Dakota quarter is common, but this one carries an error so subtle that only the most attentive collectors spot it. A small double die on the reverse, a crack near the state outline, and slight doubling around the lettering. Combine these errors, and you have a coin that is not just rare, but priceless. Dealers are rushing to get their hands on this coin. They know that once the word spreads, the hunt will intensify, and finding one will become nearly impossible. Imagine walking into a bank, casually rolling through quarters, and realizing that one of them could be your ticket to unimaginable wealth. One man's pocket change became a $1 million miracle, and that miracle is still waiting to be discovered by someone with sharp eyes and a little bit of luck, and the story doesn't stop there. The provenance of these coins adds to the drama. Some were traced back to collections that have been untouched for decades, vaults opened only once every few years. Others were found in circulation, passed from hand to hand, almost as if fate itself was testing who would recognize its true value. There is something deeply emotional about holding a coin that has survived time, mistakes, and neglect, only to reveal itself as a treasure. Collectors who know exactly what to look for are laughing all the way to the bank. They understand that it's not just the coin's age or rarity, but the combination of minting error and preservation. The condition is crucial. A worn coin, even with the error, will not fetch the same sum. But a crisp, perfectly preserved 2006 P South Dakota quarter with this subtle anomaly? That coin could easily reach over $1 million in the right market. Despite all this, millions of these quarters were produced. Millions. Yet only a tiny fraction carries the error that makes them so valuable. Most people will never encounter one in their lifetime. Some will never even know it exists. But that's what makes the story so compelling. Hidden in plain sight, waiting for someone to notice the subtle detail that unlocks its true worth. Start with the mint mark. It must be AP. Then, examine the reverse side carefully. Look for tiny cracks or unusual doubling in the letters. Inspect the state outline for irregularities. And most importantly, trust your instincts. If something seems off, even slightly, it could be the difference between ordinary change and a life-changing find. Many collectors make mistakes. They overlook coins because the error is faint. They assume it's just wear and tear. They pass it off, never realizing that a single moment of attention, a brief inspection, could be worth more than a house. Don't let that happen to you. Take your time, study the coins, and remember that history has a way of hiding its treasures in the most mundane places. Every few months, new stories surface. Someone finds one in a thrift store, another in a tip jar at a diner. The coin world waits with bated breath every time a new 2006 P South Dakota quarter surfaces with the exact anomaly. It's like a secret lottery where the prize is not just money, but a story, a miracle, a once-in-a-lifetime moment. Imagine holding that coin in your hand. The cold metal, the slight imperfections that make it unique, the knowledge that this tiny disc of copper and nickel could be worth over $1 million. It's thrilling, emotional, almost unimaginable. And yet, it's possible. Because for every coin lost to circulation, for every coin forgotten in a drawer, there is still the chance of discovery. That chance is what makes the hunt irresistible. To identify this coin, focus on three things: mint mark P, die cracks or doubling on the reverse, and the state outline irregularity. If all three are present, you could be holding something extraordinary. Inspect carefully, because one overlooked coin could be your ticket to $1 million miracle. Remember, this coin isn't just metal. It's history, luck, and the thrill of discovery wrapped into a single object. One person's casual purchase at a store could have become the most valuable quarter in America. And one person's attention to detail could turn pocket change into a fortune. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. Don't let it slip by unnoticed. The opportunity is real, the story is real, and the treasure is waiting. Every coin tells a story, but only a few tell the story that can change your life forever. It could be worth over $1 million. Imagine holding what seems like an ordinary Texas quarter in your hand, only to realize it's a mistake that collectors around the world are desperate to own. One coin, forgotten for years in someone's pocket change, has become a symbol of pure, life-changing luck. And what's even more shocking is how easy it is to miss it if you don't know what to look for. The story begins in 2004 at the US Mint, where billions of coins were being produced. Most were routine, destined for the cash registers, the coin jars, and the small change in our wallets. But a tiny, almost invisible error occurred during the striking of some Texas quarters. It was the kind of mistake that would go unnoticed by most eyes. A minor misalignment, a tiny double strike, a subtle variation that would transform a simple 50-cent piece into a coin worth up to $1.20 million. Collectors were shocked when the first of these coins surfaced. Dealers rushed, auctions were flooded with phone calls, and suddenly, a coin that once passed unnoticed in pockets and cash drawers became the object of a worldwide treasure hunt. One man's pocket change became a $1 million miracle. He had bought a bag of quarters from his local bank, thinking nothing of it, and within weeks, experts were telling him he was holding a coin that could sell for more than most people make in a lifetime. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. The first major auction revealed that the 2004 Texas quarter could fetch astonishing sums, far beyond anyone's expectations. The coin's value wasn't just in its rarity. It was in the story behind it, the rarity of the error, and the fervor of collectors who were willing to pay top dollar for a chance to own a piece of history. The auctioneer's gavel fell, and millions of eyes focused on that single moment, and the coin sold for an amount that left everyone speechless. This tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. The key is in the mint mark, the precise placement of the P, and the subtle irregularities that distinguish this quarter from its ordinary counterparts. A casual glance will reveal nothing unusual, but under magnification, the difference becomes glaringly obvious to anyone trained to look. It's the kind of secret that has kept this coin hidden in plain sight for years, waiting for the lucky few who would know what to look for. Imagine the thrill of discovering a coin like this yourself. You might be sifting through your old change, or perhaps you inherited a coin collection from a relative, and suddenly, a small, unassuming quarter catches your eye. The heart races, the mind spins, because this could be your once-in-a-lifetime moment. Collectors who missed out on the first wave are now hunting even harder, desperate to add this Texas quarter to their collection. And every day, more coins are found in unexpected places, turning ordinary wallets into treasure troves. The emotional intensity of the discovery cannot be overstated. People who thought they were just holding pocket change have gone from disbelief to excitement to sheer amazement when they realize the coin in their hand is a rare 2004 Texas quarter. Dealers call it the ultimate hidden gem, the kind of coin that changes lives, the kind that makes headlines, the kind that can transform a simple hobby into a fortune overnight. One coin, one moment, and suddenly, everything you thought you knew about luck is rewritten. Collectors have been obsessed with identifying these coins because the difference is subtle but monumental. The mint mark should be inspected carefully. Look for misalignment, doubling, or variations in the shape and placement of the P. Tiny scratches, slight die errors, and anomalies in the design can all indicate this rare variation. Experienced collectors use magnification tools, lighting, and reference guides to separate the ordinary from the extraordinary. Even a small oversight could mean missing out on a $1 million opportunity. The story doesn't end with identification. Once confirmed, the 2004 Texas quarter has a dramatic resale journey. Dealers, collectors, and auction houses all compete fiercely. Phone bids fly in from around the country. Online auctions see spikes of interest as enthusiasts realize what they're bidding on. And in the quiet of a living room, someone might hold a coin that will soon be worth more than a house in some parts of the country. The suspense is real, the stakes are high, and the results are life-changing. The answer lies in the rarity, the historical context, and the human fascination with mistakes that become treasures. The 2004 Texas quarter is more than metal. It's a symbol of chance, a beacon for those who know how to spot value where others see none. And once you see it, you never look at pocket change the same way again. Now, here's how to identify this exact coin without wasting time or falling for fakes. Examine the mint mark carefully. Hold it under strong light. Check for die doubling, unusual lines, or imperfections that are inconsistent with standard minting. Compare it to verified examples online or in collector guides. Remember, this coin is a masterclass in subtlety. It's not a flashy error, it's a whisper of history in your hand, demanding a trained eye. Many people have found these coins in the most ordinary places: a drawer, a piggy bank, an old change jar. One collector found two in a single roll of quarters from his bank. Another discovered one tucked between pages of an old book. Every find reignites the excitement in the coin community, as if the coin itself is daring someone to uncover its secret. The final, most important thing to remember is that this coin is worth more than just money. It represents the thrill of discovery, the joy of finding something rare, the awe of holding a tangible piece of history that almost went unnoticed. For the lucky few, it's not just a collectible. It's a life-changing opportunity to look closely, examine your coins, and pay attention to every detail. That small, unassuming 2004 Texas quarter could be hiding in your collection right now. And when you find it, when the reality sinks in, you'll know that something extraordinary has happened. This exact quarter could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. But one coin would change a life forever. A coin that almost got tossed in the trash, a coin that, if handled correctly, could fetch over $1 million. This is the 2000 South Dakota quarter. Not just any quarter, but one hiding a rare, mind-bending minting anomaly that has collectors across the country scrambling. Most people glance at it, see shiny copper nickel, and pass it over without a second thought. But one tiny detail turns this ordinary coin into a treasure worth millions. Imagine holding a coin in your hand, the weight and heft of history pressing down, unaware that in your fingers lies the potential for a fortune. That's exactly what happened to one unsuspecting collector in the Midwest. He was sifting through rolls of quarters for his usual hobby when a glint caught his eye. At first, he thought it was just a reflection, just another coin. But then he noticed it, a subtle doubling of the date, almost imperceptible to the untrained eye. His heart raced. Collectors call it a double die error, and for this 2000 South Dakota quarter, it can mean a payday of over $1 million. But the story doesn't end there. This coin didn't just appear out of thin air. Its origin is shrouded in mystery, traced back to a batch that the mint produced under conditions almost perfect for mistakes. Machines were old, pressures uneven, and operators stretched thin. Coins like this slipped through quality control, unnoticed for decades. And now, in the hands of the right collector, it's the most sought-after treasure in American coin collecting. Collectors were shocked when the first examples started surfacing at auctions. Bids skyrocketed from hundreds to hundreds of thousands, and then suddenly, one coin sold for a jaw-dropping 7 figures. Dealers who had once dismissed South Dakota quarters as just another state series were now calling suppliers frantically, hoping to uncover even a single coin from this elusive batch. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. Another collector, this one living quietly in a small town, discovered one in a dusty jar labeled spare change. It wasn't professionally graded, it wasn't framed in a collector's display, it was in his kitchen drawer. And when experts examined it, their eyes widened. The coin matched the rare 2000 double die variety. Overnight, a man's modest savings transformed into $1 million miracle. It's not just about the mint mark. Yes, the D for Denver is important, but the real magic is in the fine details of the strike. Look closely at the 2000 on the obverse. Do you see doubling? Not just a shadow, but clear, repeated lines that almost look like a ghost echo of the original digits. The Liberty inscriptions, the rim, even the buffalo steps on the reverse, small irregularities can confirm authenticity. This coin practically shouts its rarity to anyone willing to see it. And yet, even seasoned collectors have been fooled. Some think a slight discoloration or scratch is a flaw. But in truth, that can be a sign of its age, its journey through countless hands, each one unaware of the treasure it carried. Dealers warn, handle carefully, examine under magnification, and do not rely on photographs alone. One misstep, and the million-dollar value could vanish in a heartbeat. Point. One of the most thrilling discoveries came from a retired teacher who had never collected coins seriously. He was sorting through decades of change when he noticed something unusual. The mint mark, the subtle doubling of the date, the unusual luster, it all screamed rarity. He took it to a local coin shop, expecting perhaps a few $100s at most. The dealer's face went pale. This coin was no ordinary quarter. It was a rare 2000 D South Dakota with an error so striking it could command over $1 million in the right auction house. That moment changed his life forever. Collectors are now combing through rolls, jars, and coin albums with renewed intensity. There's a rush in the air, the kind of thrill that comes from knowing that in the quietest moments, your wallet, a forgotten drawer, there could be a coin that changes everything. Dealers are watching, buyers are bidding aggressively, and the stories of small-time collectors striking gold are becoming legendary. First, always check the mint mark. The D for Denver is crucial. Then, examine the date for doubling, the hallmark feature. Magnifying glass or loupe is non-negotiable. Inspect the rim, the lettering, and the buffalo steps on the reverse. Compare with standard quarters from the same year. If you see clear evidence of doubled dies, irregularities in the strike, or a subtle ghosting of numbers, you may have stumbled upon a once-in-a-lifetime coin. But remember, authentication by a professional grading service is essential before any sale or appraisal. Even seasoned collectors admit they have missed coins like this in their own collections. It's humbling, thrilling, and proof that sometimes fortune hides in the most ordinary places. A coin that looks just like any other in your pocket, sitting quietly among pennies, nickels, and dimes, could hold the key to $1 million windfall. This coin story is more than just numbers and minting errors. It's about dreams realized. One man's casual hobby, one man's forgotten spare change, became the stuff of legends. The 2000 D South Dakota quarter is more than a coin. It's a symbol of hope, a reminder that treasure can be anywhere, and a call to every collector to look closer, to pay attention, to never dismiss the small things. And as you go through your own coins, think of this. One tiny detail can change everything. One subtle doubling, one mint mark, one careful inspection could reveal a fortune hiding in plain sight. Dealers will pay handsomely. Auctions will scream with competitive bids. And that coin you overlooked yesterday could be the ticket to over $1 million tomorrow. Take a moment. Sift through your change. Examine each coin with care, and remember the stories of those who found their $1 million miracle. Your next discovery could be hiding quietly in your pocket, your drawer, or your coin jar. This exact coin could be waiting for you, its secrets locked in metal for decades, ready to transform your life with the power of $1 million.